Recording from Sandy, Utah, you're listening to Idiot to Genius. Hello, my name's Steph Schull.
And I'm Utah Todd with the Sure Group at eXp Realty. Each episode focuses on individuals that found themselves desiring more. If you're feeling like an idiot, join the club. Today's guest understands discipline, sacrifice, and what it means to serve something bigger than yourself. He's a former Marine Corps reservist who transitioned from military life into real estate, bringing that same mindset of accountability and leadership into a completely different arena. Now, while building his career in real estate under Brian Staub, he's also feeling the pull to return to the Marines. Not because it's easy, but because it matters to who he is. This is a conversation about duty, identity, and the moments where comfort and calling collide. Welcome, Jonathon Rogers. Jonathon, making the leap from military to real estate, and now you're looking to get back into military. Is that accurate?
Yes, sir. Yeah. So I was in the reserves, and so which means I had a civilian job as well, and contract came up, and so I wanted to reenlist, but at the time there was some stuff going on that I needed to wait it out, and but kind of interested now in getting back in, and of course I'll still trying to get in the reserves, so it'll be still doing real estate, and then
Right.
it's like once a month going out for the drill weekend as it's called, and just
Excellent.
interested in getting back in.
Is there an aspect of the, what is the aspect of the military that your real estate doesn't fulfill? I mean, there has to be something there in the military that keeps drawing you back into it. What is that?
Well, I definitely appreciated the time of serving my country, and also making the connections is good. Still have a lot of relationship with different guys that I was with in my prior unit, and so it's just a lot of camaraderie, and it's just it's a special group to be associated with, and just feel like getting back into it if I can.
Well, and I've heard that really there's nothing like it from what I've heard, that when it comes to the military and the camaraderie and the unity and the connection and, you're looking over each other's shoulder, helping out each other, that there's nothing like it. Is that accurate?
Oh yeah, it's the brotherhood, especially the Marine Corps. I feel like it's a tighter knit group, and there's the saying, age old saying, once a Marine, always a Marine. So it's just definitely a brotherhood that really can't be broken.
What Marine habit saved you the most when you entered real estate? Which one really helped out as far as habits that you created in the military and the Marines especially that helped you in real estate? Can you fill us in on that?
I would say the biggest one is discipline. I mean, just having the discipline to do all the things that need to be done, and staying with it. Yeah, they instill that discipline from day one at boot camp, and it really does. A lot of other things stream from being disciplined to
Right.
include getting up in the morning. I mean, that's where it starts.
Yes. And what time do you get up in the morning?
Well, when I actually am disciplined and follow through, I get up at 4 a.m. So,
4 a.m.
and I did this morning, so I'm feeling pretty good.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's always great. Starting your day off early and getting things rolling. Is there an aspect or a discipline, I guess you say, in the military that kind of caused you some challenges when it came to switching over to real estate?
I mean, it hasn't really affected me too much because I was in the reserves, so I wasn't like active duty in that environment 100%. So I still had to juggle the civilian world and dealing with civilians.
Right.
One challenge would be is like, especially with dealing with people in real estate, you're having to serve them, kind of tailor yourself to what they need and their behavior and all that stuff. It can be rough sometimes because a lot of people aren't as disciplined. And so when it comes to like either having a listing or working with the buyer and they need to move on stuff quickly, but they don't do it, it's like, just get the stuff done. Come on.
Right. Right.
So it can be, yeah, that just helps, want to pull your hair out.
So, I'm just curious because Todd talks a lot about how real estate is like the American dream, right? That it's a right that we have to own property. So I'm curious, like being in the military and then like being now in real estate, how has that, like, changed your perspective on that dream, or, like, what's your thoughts on that?
I mean, obviously that's what we, what the military protects in part is the ability to have that freedom to life, liberty, and property, as we like to say. So that's it is that's how I appreciate when I'm in the military, when I was in the military, and hopefully get back in. That's one of the things that we're protecting is that freedom to own land, have a place you call your own. That answer the question, or
But it's an excellent question, Steph. That did when you how did you decide to go into real estate coming from military? What made you choose real estate?
well, um, so it's kind of a longish story. So I was working at a land surveying company previously, so it's still kind of related to land. And they had opened an office in the Myrtle Beach area, and I had the opportunity of like training some of the guys there. And that kind of coincided with when I met my wife, who lived here in Myrtle Beach. And so got to know her, and then of course got to know Brian, and heard more about real estate through that. And of course, he helped us. He was the buyer's agent for us as we bought our house, and got to see how that worked, and um, just saw the opportunity for growth. So kind of just started the process to get my license, and then went ahead and got it, and changed over to real estate. I definitely appreciate the ability to help people, and the deals that I've done so far. It's been rewarding experience with all the different ones and their different seasons of life and everything, and being able to see them get to that next step has been a good rewarding experience.
Right, right. So being in, you said you were in surveying,
Yeah, I worked at a land surveying company. I was as a CAD tech, so drawing up stuff at the computer.
and then you said you met your wife from with the surveying company. Did she work there, or how'd you meet your wife?
Well, what happened I actually got on eHarmony, and it happened to be a match. She happened to be a match, and then so we started talking, and it just kind of lined up where I was able to come down here for a week, early on, and getting to know each other as I was training up the guys in that office, and so we really got to know each other real well, and then the rest is history.
The rest is history. Have a little girl now.
Mm.
Awesome, beautiful little girl.
That's a plug for eHarmony right there. You just did a
Yeah,
little.
right. Yep, it works.
Yeah, it did work. And then Brian Staub, how did you meet Brian?
Well, he's my father-in-law, so that kind of happened from getting to know
I did
my wife.
not realize
Did you not
that.
know that?
No.
Wow. I mean, I guess we never really said it.
Well, that's gonna be
That's
announced
hilarious.
tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we got to know him through that. So obviously, was very up close and personal with with real estate and his experience in real estate. He enjoys talking about it, and encouraging it as a good option. And so that's the biggest thing, that over that course of time, from 2022 to 2024, hearing about it, and kind of being able to see kind of the back end of it as was at his house, and you know hearing the
Right.
conversations and all that kind of stuff. So
Awesome. That's awesome. Kudos to Brian on that one to be able to share that with you and help you to be able to catch the vision for real estate, because real estate, it's just such an incredible opportunity. It really is. The so with the real estate and with military and so forth, as far as young people coming up, would you encourage them to join the military? Do you think that's a great idea, a great avenue for them to go into?
yeah, I mean, it comes down to what works best for them, but I think it's definitely a good route to go. There's a lot of opportunity for growth and maturity. To experience a lot of things and go a lot of places, and it's not all the flashy pearls for it that you see. There's a lot of there's a reason why hurry up and wait is a thing in the military, and
Yes.
stuff like that, and the term embrace the suck. There's a reason why that's a thing, but it is there's a lot of character building experiences there. And again, I mean, my dad was in the Marine Corps as well, and he still has friends with guys that he was in with as well. So there's a lot of those type of benefits. You gotta go in with the right mindset, or else you'll
Yeah.
have have an expectation that is unrealistic that maybe, you were told by somebody, but then the reality is something different. And then if you're like, have that misconception, and you don't get your head straight in the process of it, then you're going to have this whole negative outlook on the military and that experience that, it could have been better.
I just want to switch gears a little bit, and this is one of our favorite questions that we ask on here. It's, about the idiot moments in business. Those times
Oh
that
boy.
things just didn't go right and you learn from it. So can you share some experiences with us, like, that you were able to learn from along the way?
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I was the this past year I did have a listing that basically I've been working with an investor guy that basically would buy properties and that were distressed and then turn around and sell them. Didn't really do much with them. And then he had a guy who was working in the same franchise that bought a property, similar situation. But I was used to the way this one guy worked. And so when I started working with his colleague, it kind of I didn't get the full picture of what he was wanting to do with the house at first. And so he was wanting to do a lot with it, put a lot into it to really get the best price he could for it. And so that experience, like I realized I did not get all the communication and the full scope on the front end. And so that listing was like a series of, you want to do that? Okay, let's go ahead and get, a contractor out here to do that and, spend extra time and money to get the house where you wanted it, try to get the most for it. And so it was just, that was a learning experience of like, having that communication on the front end so everybody's on the same page so that you're not in the middle of the process of listing the house and you've already listed it and you're trying to get a contractor out to take care of this, take care of that, and it was kind of a mess. And we did make sure to take care of it, and I was at the property several times to take care of little odds and ends to coordinate the contractor and all that. But it was just a lot of headache that and he probably didn't get as much for it as he could have. And so that was a lesson learned there to communicate and bring in for me, especially, being kind of newer to the process and I've not done like, home renovations myself. So kind of like not knowing what I don't know, bringing in, people that do to get that full picture. So those were some lessons learned there.
Hey, so does Brian get involved with rehabs and flips and things like that?
Yeah, he actually used to be like a home improvement contractor and stuff, and so he had a lot, has a lot of experience in that, and that's where, I should have pulled him more into the process earlier on so that we could have, avoided some of the delays and hiccups.
I think though, like what you're sharing too, because sometimes we do have a mentor or someone who's been through it, and that we could learn from their advice, but sometimes it's like you don't want to bother them, or you just like are like, oh, I can figure it out. And so, hearing you say that, I'm like, no, that's so true. Like it happens all the time where there's someone who has that expertise, but it's like you just don't ask.
Right.
And a lot of times people view, and especially I assume being in the military and being able to go out and accomplish the things you've been able to accomplish in the training that you've had and so forth, that there's a side of it that you're on the platoon, you're connected there, but at the same time you need to be self motivating, self go out and get things done. That kind of plays into the whole thing of you don't want to go ask somebody else, let alone your father-in-law, to ask him about something that you wanna show him, "Look at me and what I can accomplish and what I can get done," right? And
Yeah.
rather than going and asking for
Yeah, there was probably some of that, running in the background that kept me from doing the simple thing of just, asking for some help.
right, right, right. And that's so true of everybody when it comes to not reaching out for help. We all kind of want to and especially I think in real estate or any entrepreneurial type approach, we a lot of times people are very try to be depend on themselves, be able to go out and get things done, and yet the more and more I look around, the people that are really successful actually do the opposite. They actually reach out more frequently than anybody, meaning they're always looking to bring people into a deal, bring resources into a deal to be able to hire people to
Exactly.
do parts of it that they are not experts in, all those kinds of things. Do you see that as well?
Yeah, and I think that is critical to especially real estate because I mean, whenever you're dealing with a real estate deal, I mean, you're having to work with a lender, you're having to work with, the attorneys, you're having to work with possibly contractors and all that. And so, you have to be very much ready to ask for help, to, reach out to others. And of course, especially for myself being a little bit newer, that's where it's been like I have asked some questions and, you know, he's walked me through a lot, with different deals. And so it's just that was probably the biggest thing in that process was just knowing that one little step at the very beginning could have, removed the issues for the whole time I was going through it. So it was just like until it closed, it was a constant reminder that I could have done that one little thing and it would have been a lot smoother.
Thing is it keeps biting you. The thing that at least
Yeah,
that's been my experience. When you don't take care of the front end, you think, okay, I finally got that out of the way. Then next, all of a sudden, it comes up again and again and again. It's like, oh my gosh, when is this ever going to end? Or if you would have taken care of it at the very beginning, you wouldn't have any of it.
But
exactly.
I bet that you won't make that mistake again, like, whatever that is, that you won't miss it next time.
Yeah, that is the goal is to have learned from the mistake
I think
and
I,
understand
I think so many
whatever it
people
is on the
go
front
ahead.
end.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think people realize how complex real estate really is. That it and yet if you know how to do it, if you know the process and everything else and know where to go for the resources, I mean, it just simplifies things so much. Trying to go it alone, it's just really. And I was terrified when I got into real estate. I was an investor before I ever had a real estate license, and I was not pro realtor, quite frankly. And after I became a realtor, it blew my mind the risks I was taking before as I tried to go it alone. It was just like seriously scared. I wake up scared going, holy smokes, there was so much risk that I took by going it alone. Just terrible. It's just crazy. What about what does your wife think about you getting back into the military?
Yeah, we've talked about it for a while now, and she's for it. She knows it's going to be there'll be some challenges with when I'm away, especially the 2 weeks annual training that occurs once a year, at least 2 weeks. Sometimes it could be more like three, but she's in support of it. So
Awesome. Awesome. So Jonathan, when your career in real estate is done and your service in the Marines is behind you, what do you hope the people who followed you say you stood for? Not what you did, but who you were when it mattered most.
I would say a man of my word, had integrity, had the right priorities in terms of God, family, and business. The big things that come to mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And you're definitely on track. Just the time that I've been interacting with you, it's been such a positive experience. You're definitely on track for those things. And it ain't to genius. It's when the individual right to fail unleashes the unlimited potential to succeed. In summary, it's called freedom.